There's that odd flat bulged out spot. So I need to start working on that. As you can see, starting to look much better already. That big bump out area is starting to go away. The big flat spot's starting to go away. It's looking a lot better here, but I noticed that there's actually a little bit of bad slide fit here too as well. It's just that little flat area there. So I'll sand this whole back strap down a little bit, flush this slide up a little more so it's more like this side over here. That won't take very long at all. Got it all filed down. Now I'm just going over it with some 320 grit sandpaper to round things out. Your finger really helps round off the edges, take out any flat spots that were left by the file. Never underestimate a good fingering when you need to get something done. As you can remember, there was a ding right here. Taking that out with my little three-sided file here. Just lightly doing this until it disappears. Don't want to take off too much metal. Luckily I got enough. It wasn't a really deep ding or anything here, so it's just a little surface ding. So just sanding off the part that pushed forward just a little bit, getting that back to flush. And it's pretty much gone. Now I just have to sand that down. And I cleaned up the other side a little bit too. So got my edge back good here. So that should take care of that ding in the front. Now I want to take care of some roughness in through here. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's just been milled. It's still a little rough. You can see like lines right there. See that line right there? That middle line. Over here it's still a little, you can see it's a little rough. I don't know how well it's coming out on camera, but it looks almost like, you know, if you've seen metal that's just been milled, how it still has the lines in it because it hasn't been finished yet. It still has a little bit of that, and the trigger's a little rough. So going to take some sandpaper to those. I've already started sanding the bottom side. I'll sand off the sides. This will just be a matter of, I'll put a flat edge in this and just start lightly rubbing it across the steel. Put my thumb in this little area right here and start rubbing these areas. Try to get them rubbed out good. Don't know how well you can see it here, but these lines here are deeper than I thought they were. Actually heavier than I thought they were. So I'm having to take the file to them. So I'm just running this all along the trigger guard. Now you don't want to lose your sharp edge on your trigger guard, so you make sure to get your flat edge piece of wood. Wrap your sandpaper around so you've got a flat edge. And then do your sanding. While I was doing the sanding, I noticed a little flat spot right there, a little dent in the barrel housing. So I'll round this off a little bit at the end too. But that just shows me, I'm pretty sure the person who owned this gun before me dropped it while the frame was off, while the slide was off the frame, because there was damage to the back of the frame and damage to the front of the barrel right there. But nothing I can't fix. One little note I want to make while I'm rounding out the edge of this barrel here. A lot of people say to me, well, wouldn't a file or something work better in a situation like this? Or a lot of times they'll say to me, well, wouldn't a Dremel or something else do a lot better job a lot faster? My opinion on that is never, ever, ever use power tools, especially if you're not a complete and total consummate professional, because the damage that you can cause with a power tool in just one slip is just hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of damage. So take your time, do it by hand, do it with sandpaper, and you know, do it right, because the worst thing you can ever do is overdo something, and doing it the slow, old-fashioned way takes away that risk of overdoing it. Power tools, That's what happens, I would say, 90% of the time when I fix something someone else tried to fix first. They've tried to do it with a Dremel or a power tool, and they've done too much, and I have to tell them, sorry, once you take it off, you can't put it back. Okay, now I'm ready for like the next to the last step here. Just going to take some 600 grit paper, oiled down pretty well, and I'm just going to rub over all of the surfaces that I've worked on to try to even out the finish just a little bit before I sandblast. I'll take the grips off here in a moment, and I'll just rub every surface, the rounded surfaces, the flat surfaces, everywhere. I'm just going to give every place a little once over with the 600 grit paper with some oil on it. That's just, I mean, everywhere. Everywhere that I'm going to bead blast, which is everywhere on this gun, I'm going to give it a little bit of rubbing with the 600 grit paper. Alright, you've seen this part before. Just going to get the sandblaster out here and go to town on her. Okay, you want to take notice, because this is about the only time I'll ever tell you to use a Dremel. I am going to polish up the shroud around the chamber here with a Dremel. Okay, I got about the level of shine I want. I don't want a mirror finish on this, but I want it shiny. I got it right there. I also shined up the outer tip a little bit of the barrel, the part that sticks out from the slide. So it'll give it a little bit of flash, a little bit of bling. Just want to show here the roughest part so far is being this area right here. See all those like waviness to that? That's where the machine just ran a file over it, never finished it down afterwards. It's getting it a little better on this side, but boy, it's being a rough. This is being the hardest part by far of the refinish. Took a little doing, but I'm finally getting that out of there, so I've got a nice smooth sandblasted texture on the bottom now instead of that Ripley texture. Okay, now what I got to deal with is, it's sandblasted, but it's all sandblasted. The brushed texture is no longer on the slide, on the side here. So I'm going to have to restore the brushed texture to the side, because I don't like the bead blast on the side. I want the brushed texture. Kind of how like 1911s are brushed on the flats. I want it brushed on this one as well. To put the brush texture back on the slide is pretty easy. You can't do it by hand. You end up with uneven texture. You won't have straight lines in your grain. So what you need is a straight edge, some paper. Spray the paper down with just some gun oil. And then you just lay your slide right against the straight edge and start rubbing it back and forth. This will keep your grain straight. Okay, it's still a little streaky and dirty. Got fingerprints all over it, but I got the brushed texture back on the slide. And once I clean it up, it'll look nice and smooth. But it's back on there, so now it's not bead blast all over anymore. So now I just have to get everything put back together. I got to detail strip the frame or the slide here and make sure there's no glass beads in it anywhere. And hopefully by tomorrow or Saturday I'll have a video up of the completed project.